Hi, today I'm going to show you how to put a limber on an arm. So first of all, we're going to go into CelAction and we're going to go straight into assemble mode. So we're going to click this little A over here. And then I'm going to load my elements into the pool. Load elements from shapefile. It's going to be the Circus Fire Breather. I made it as a vector actor in Adobe Illustrator, but I also then exported it as an SVG file. So we're going to open that one. You can see that the SVG is the one that shows up the little drawing there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've got a blank actor here. I'm just going to rename that actor as FB Arm Tester. Okay, I'm just going to make a quick dummy, which is a blank element. I'm going to make it a child of root 2, so arm 2, and then we'll know that everything is supposed to be in that container there. So I'm going to scroll down and find all the elements that I've got on my artwork which are connected with arm 2. The first thing is the actual piece of artwork itself, which comprises the upper sleeve and the black gauntlet, and it's all one shape. So I'm going to press my Alt to get the plus and click that on the arm 2. Then I'm going to look at these green elements that we've got left. Now these are the things that we're going to be clicking on. They're green because they're meant to be made 0 opacity so that we can't see them. So I'm going to build up my actual working arm with these elements. So again, I press Alt to get the plus symbol and I click that on the dummy arm 2, not on the artwork arm 2. Then I get the lower arm 2 and I'm going to click that as a child of the upper arm. Another child of the upper arm is going to be the elbow adjust, and they're in the right order there, how they should be. And then I'm going to get hand 2A and I'm going to click that on the lower arm 2 as well. So we've got artwork, upper container, elbow container, lower container and hand artwork there. I'm just going to rename that hand with capital letters so we know that it's then going to have different shapes inside it. The next thing I'm going to do is fix my anchor point on all of these elements. I click A for anchor point, and at the moment you can see that the anchor point is randomly there, and I want it to be on the cross that I have made on the upper arm because I know that will make it rotate nicely. The elbow automatically goes into the centre cross there, and the lower arm too, I also want that to be around there, the centre cross. In fact, what I'm going to do is I am going to get the element anchor point and I'm going to copy it from the elbow so that I know that they're exactly in the same place. The hand anchor point, again, within my artwork I drew a little cross where I wanted it to be anchored around. I'm going to click that nicely in the middle, really zooming in to make sure it's as good as it can be. Yes, it is. Okay, and the last one that I want to put the anchor point on is the arm 2 itself. So I'm going to copy that anchor point from the upper arm because I know, again, that's in the right place. Okay, so my actual arm 2 artwork is underneath there. It's just displayed behind the green elements at the moment. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a limber or a bend on this arm 2 artwork. I'm going to go Elements, Create, Limber. It's going to be a vertical one. It always has a control point base and a control point end by default, but we also want our extra point there. And we could just go into this define box to make sure it's roughly 50%. So we click OK, and now when I click OK, there we see that a whole load of new points have come up over here. Okay, so just going into wireframe once again and clicking through those to see where they are. So the end is at the bottom, control point 2 is around the elbow area, control point base is up there. Right, so I'm going to click that control point base and I'm going to start adding them to our green container elements. So I've got control point base and I'll press my Alt and I'll stick that on the upper arm too. Control point 2 is the one in the middle. I'm going to stick that on the elbow, and control point end, I'm going to stick that on the lower arm. Then I am going to make these containers have 0 opacity so that we can click them but we can't see them. We go element opacity, Alt T, and whack it down to 0. So it's still there, I can still click on it but I can't see the green. And we're going to do that for the other 2 container elements. Alt T, whack it to 0, Alt T, whack it to 0. Okay, and now because we've got a sort of white sleeve, I'm just going to make the background a grey colour. We've also got to add our extra hand shapes, so I'm going to inspect my shapes. So element, shapes, inspect. You can see the shortcut is Alt S, or another way to get there is to find this little looking glass symbol up here. And we've got a box, and I want to add some more shapes because I know in the pool I've got hands 2B to 2E. So I'm going to select all those, add the shapes, just use my arrows to get them in A, B, C, D, E order. Okay, and now you can see on the hand element there's an actual green number 5 which shows me that I've got different shapes in there, and I just click through my square brackets to get those shapes. Right, let's save this little section. Just click Save Actor, FB Arm Tester, save. And now we can test it out. So if I get into my rotate mode, Control Shift R will rotate it for us. Might be a bit of a weird bend for you though, so you can see that we can use the elbow adjust perhaps to make a different bend, or we can use the actual handles of that control point. You can choose Z to move the pair of them, or you can choose Alt, and you can see the difference when I press Alt, it becomes a corner, so that just selects one of those. So you can sort of basically choose whatever bend you want. And of course you can use this principle on a leg, which is pretty much built the same. So just as a recap, the upper arm 2 has 2 children. The elbow 2 is a child of the upper arm 2, and the lower arm 2 is also a child of the upper arm 2 and a sibling to the elbow. And you just put the limber on the actual artwork, and then you connect those control points to the relevant container elements. Thanks very much.